This segment is sponsored by Axiom Value, LLC. Americans are more stressed about their retirement than ever before, mainly because of the different risks that are associated with retirement. Mamadou Bojang is the president, CEO, and senior wealth advisor at Axiom Value, LLC, which is a DC-based wealth management firm, and he's here to discuss some of those retirement risks. Thank you for being here today.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thank you.
When we think of risk, especially in retirement, I always think of the stock market risk. Is that the biggest one that clients come in and talk to you about?
Well, stock market risk is actually a very big risk. But what we have seen now with what's happening with inflation, people need to put in perspective in terms of what are some of the biggest risks out there in retirement later in the future. And then taxes is one of those that we are talking to our clients about.
Wow. Okay, so let's go over some of the risks. What are those risks that you mainly talk to your clients about?
So obviously we're talking about stock market risk. We're talking about inflation risk, which is a big deal these days. But we're also talking about long-term care risk. These are things that people need to be mindful of because these are things that can derail somebody's retirement. But the biggest thing is taxes that we tend to talk to our clients about.
I'm glad you brought up taxes. Why is it that you find the need to focus on those taxes in retirement?
Yeah, because I believe that the biggest misunderstood risk in this country is taxes. Most people don't understand what tax is all about. Oftentimes when we get into retirement, we would say, okay, let's try to de-risk. Take most of our money from the stock market because we don't want to lose most of it. And it will say, oh, let's diversify. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. But one thing that we don't talk about is how can you diversify the tax risk? Because tax can also take more of your money.
Okay, so that's what you definitely want to be mindful of. You actually have 4 ways that you can pay more taxes in retirement than planned. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. And people don't understand this. So especially for somebody who is married, when you're filing married, filing jointly. That basically gives you a lower tax rate. But if one of you should no longer be here, the surviving spouse would have to now file single. I call that like the government is coming and wacky with tax on that because tax rate on that is high. The other option is like deductions. We have seen that when they passed the tax law in 2017, they limit in terms of like how much you can deduct from the federal taxes. So that's another way that the government can basically use to minimize for you to get like pay higher taxes. And the other thing is legislative risk. They can change the tax law on us, right? And they basically make taxes to go up. And then also how retirement assets are being taxed. We all know that when Social Security was first enacted, it was not taxed before. But then later on, they taxed it to up to 50%, and they moved that to up to 85%. So all these are ways that you could pay higher taxes, right? Not even talking about the amount of debt that we have now, $31 trillion. And then we have 10,000 baby boomers retiring every single day, and then most of them are going to use Social Security and Medicare. So if you think about those two, government will have to find ways to basically get more revenue, and we suspect maybe tax is probably one way.
There is kind of a bright side in all of this. You also have possibilities for your taxes, right? 3 different possibilities. What can you do?
Well, there are basically 3 different possibilities for taxes, right? In retirement, your tax probably will go up, or they will stay the same, or they can go down. And nobody can predict the future. Obviously, I think it makes sense for people to kind of like look at tax and say, instead of saying, oh, well, when I retire, I'm going to be in a lower tax bracket because my income is going to go down. Well, that's something that has not been tested. But one of the things that we provide our client is so that they can go to myretirementtaxtrap.com, myretirementtaxtrap.com. And if you're a federal government employee, you could go to mytsptaxtrap.com, and then you'll be able to kind of like have a sense of what your retirement tax bill is going to be. And then you want to make sure that you actually put things in place to be able to minimize your tax burden.
And have some planning ahead of time. Is this uncertainty that we're seeing right now, you mentioned the inflation and kind of the stock market, the volatility in the stock market, is this why people need to call you right now?
Absolutely. I mean, these are real. We have not seen inflation like this for over 40 years. So inflation can definitely decimate people's retirement. So obviously, they need to call us, and we offer free consultation with our clients or with anyone else, just to make sure that you check and then see whether you actually actually in the right place in terms of going into retirement. Because retirement is a journey, and it's a place that you want to be in, and you want to have a worry-free retirement, right? You want to enjoy the retirement, yes.
We want to go on vacations and just enjoy that we worked so hard for decades.
Exactly. It's supposed to be the best days in your life, right?
Yes.
So with all the right planning, you can definitely retire happily ever after.
Yes, that's what we want to hear.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much. We do want to let you know, for more information, you can give Axiom Value LLC a call. That number is 240-863-3688, or you can also email the address we talked about. That is info@axiomvaluellc.com, and you see it on your screen there. So take a picture with your phone right now, right? And call or email them. Thank you so much.